Oh, what's going on, guys? It is Inkbite Gaming here, bringing you to another, let's say, visual novel from itch.io. Today, we have May I Take Your Order. It just looked really nice by, like, the image they had in the like, thumbnail type thing. So we're just gonna dive right in and see what this one's all about. Alright, I've been filling out a few applications today, and this is the last one. I've been applying to work at restaurants all over. It might not seem like glamorous, but I wanted to see how different places are run. If I want to open my own restaurant someday, it's crucial to see what does and doesn't work. A friend told me I should save my top pick for last, and I should really kick him for that. My hand's about to fall off. I mean, applications do take a lot to fill in sometimes. These days, it is not paper applications anymore. It's all done like online over the computer. So kind of not that much writing needs to be done. It's more so typing. It's pretty ritzy establishment, but comfortable. Fancy, but not overpriced. Important clientele? Clientele! I was like, why can't I? I'm going to say this now, and probably I've said this in previous, plenty of videos that I've done, is that sometimes when I read words, I don't see them as the word that they're supposed to be. I know it probably for a lot of people that is the thing, but sometimes I like read and I'm like, it's this word, and then I'm like, no, it's not, you buffoon. It's this word. Alright, but continuing forward, but still kind of inclusive. If you can't make connections here, you're dead. Financially speaking, and the food, remarkable. I've never heard of anyone ever having a bad meal there. I gotta know how they accomplish so much. So I try not to be too nervous and fill this out like any other application. My first name, it's Ace. There you go, Ace. Fill in my address, try not to despair over my handwriting. Before getting to the personal section, gender is, male. And finish filling out the form. I cap the pen and lean back in my chair. Man, it's nice to be done. Well, except for heading outside and turning them all in. One at a time. Better go get it. Better get to it then. Ooh, fancy place. 2 weeks later, I am waist deep in my first Saturday shift at the restaurant. Busy doesn't even begin to describe it. After 7 hours of the weekend rush, I'm ready to go home. Stop off at the table 6 and go through the motions. Thank you for dining with us, sir. My name is Ace, and I will be your server this evening. I stop off at tables. Oh, wait. Okay, I must have hit the back button. Sorry. I'll be your server this evening. He smiles at me. Pleasure to meet you, Mr. Ace. Have you dined with us before, sir? Yes, indeed. I am quite happy to be back. Just you this evening? No, my girlfriend will be here shortly. I'll just have a cup of coffee while I wait for her. I'll go get it for you right away then. No rush, no rush. Countless families and couples have come and gone, but for a past hour, that one guy been clogging up table 6. Are you doing all right, sir? He checks his watch again. Yes, I mistook the time. She'll be here any second. He's been saying that for the past 45 minutes. Oh, poor guy. He got this fancy... He probably got reservations to this fancy restaurant for a date, and he got stood up. Poor guy. I'll tell him to pack it up and leave, but he doesn't have the look I'd expect for someone in his position. There's anxiety, but only a little bit, and there's no disappointment. Not a shared doubt in his eyes. He really thinks, excuse me. He looks at me. It seems like he's come to sort of decision. Thank good. But this restaurant... But this is a restaurant with crayons, right? Whoa. Yes, sir. We have those for kids. Excellent. A stinging ferocity enters my eyes. One that does not quite pair the nature with crayons. One, please. A red, if you got it. Yes, sure. I'm not about to argue with a customer, so I head up to the front. It's not exactly usual, but the guy has been sitting there for half an hour with no phone. I'm caught between pity and irritation, and hope, for the umpteenth time, that he has enough empathy to tip well on a single cup of coffee he has been nursing. There is a small tin... Pardon me. There's a small tin with several crayons. We try to keep fresh ones. Hold on, I need some water. Fresh ones ready. I grab... Oh, so we can do like the opposite if we wanted to. I'm just gonna do for one ending, due for the fact that Tuesday's episode took up so much time. So we're going to just do the one run. If you guys want to check out the other runs of what could happen with a different ending, I will leave a link in the description down below. So we're gonna go for the correct stuff. Okay. I snatch up the red crayon, no sense of being mean to him. He may be weird, but he's probably having a bad night too. I bring the crayon back to him and hand it over. Thank you, Mr. Ace. It's no big deal. Hey, are you okay? I saw you don't have a cell phone, but we could call your girlfriend and... No warning, no nothing. He knocks everything off the table and climbs right up on it. Well, sir, please get down. His deft hands scrawl a wide circle with another, then sections off areas, sections as though the crayons were a knife. He fills it with symbols, almost looking like zodiac signs. Homo summum humum I aminalai ali patu. It's like he stood up too fast, and there's a rushing to my head. There's a pressure like my ears are going to pop. What just happened? The tablecloth rips open, and there's a spray of sweet-smelling fluids. I leap away from the table, and something bursts out. He has summoned Cthulhu! A wet, spiked appendages flailing all over, slapping and snaking their way around the tables and the windows and doors. They are fleshy, but soft, too soft. They are mushy and disfigured, as they slam against everything in sight. One smacks the hat off of another diner who continues to eat her meal, unfazed. Nobody is screaming, and nobody notices me on the ground, arms raised, protecting my face and throat. It was too tight to scream again. But that's okay. The thing is screaming enough for the entire restaurant, and letting out a dual-tone screech, high and low. But I can't discern one throat, let alone two. The crayon thrown to the floor stood up by the guy the worst dinner ever starts to call out to it. Sweetie, for goodness sake, put your body on. We're in a nice restaurant. It screeched. It roars back at him. I know, but... He waves a bundle of cloth at it. I bought you some clothing. It's super comfy. It slurps up in a bundle of slurps up the bundle of fabric and continues to babble and draws back, twisting and tail. I emerge! You're here. You had me worried, so I figured I'd help break the barrier down a bit. Talpier? You have no idea how good it is to see you. When he says that word, my ears finally pop and my teeth grit. It's a bad word. It's not a curse word per se. Not so much a word that you wouldn't say it in the front of your boss. It feels like the wrong answer to a classroom or a meeting. That moment when everyone turns around and looks at you, and you just want to sink through the floor. I just want to sink through the floor now. I want to very quietly go get my coat and change my name and move to whatever town is exact opposite point of the globe of where we are currently standing. You informed me that the barrier was to be frail as this portion of our worlds. I will hold you responsible for the trouble. He's beaming at the thing that came out of the hole, but I can't look at it. It hurts to roll my eyeballs towards it. I feel dehydrated. When I close my eyes, the dark behind my eyelids, so cool, so soft. Huh. There are tears running down my cheeks. I hadn't noticed. The guy, Hendrik, beams the gesture towards the gaggle of eyes of puffy wool. This is my girlfriend, Talapria. Impudence microbe. My chosen to craft for myself a form of my creator, a birthing one. I am capable of far greater creations than your reproduction females, and far more erroneously your inflated ego thinks I would design to refer to you as any form of companion. A word of washed over him like a gentle breeze. It looked like she could rip his face off, but her roars just makes his eyes brim with joy. We've been dating for about 400 years, and though the long-distance thing is in this bit of annoyance, we make it work. The moment I finally devise an insufficient method of accomplishing your demise, I will rip your soul from your ever regenerating body and crew it to the grill. He sits down and all but destroyed table, he picks up his menu. But until that beautiful day, When I can be with you forever, you're going to need to eat something else. Talaporia stops. She looks at me, and I bounce between eyes, trying to make contact with one that doesn't stare me into my deepest inadequacies. There is human feel here. I nod. Her mouth breaks open into a smile. Excellent. You are spared from punishment. Hendrik, if only for a moment. She sits down, but not in the chair. Dozens of her tentacles are still present, though the entire room spikes driven deep into the surface, blocking all exits. She settles onto one of the squishy appendages and looking pleased. So then, maybe we should order an appetizer. It's not that I can't believe that this is happening. I have an open mind. But this is far from sudden supernatural shifts into my life. I was really hoping for wizard school, or just plan on an old haunting. Some ghosts and pretty cool, right? At least zombies are something I know the rules here. The rules with this thing is... Do I throw rice at the ground to stall her? Will she attack me if I touch her with iron? I listen to my gut, but I can't make out anything general foreboding. Demon? You summon demons? So that fits. But I don't know. Something doesn't seem quite right about that. Maybe she's excuse me? Oh, I can barely think, but I can at least fall back on one set of rules. I struggle to stutter and out a remote reply. Would you like to start off with some super salad tonight? The man grins and gives me an eager nod. Could you please get blue cheese salad in for my sweetie? The Talaporia rolls her eyes, her teeth flashes as she cuts in. Hendrik, I've been on enough of these dates to know that you're ordering from your companion is rude. Oh, so for him to order for her is well, yeah, that is entirely true. But sometimes, you know, you're in a relationship for so long, you know what they want. But sometimes there's something new on the menu that they want to try. That's like me. Sometimes I like to try new things, but sometimes I go back to the things that I've ordered in previous times. His face falls. But it's been ages since you've been eating any food. You're chewing on a fork right now. She gives him a glare and slowly places the slightly bent cutlery back down on the table. Fine. But before he can say another word, she makes her move. I don't want your advice, though. I want a young human to choose for me. Oh no. He sighs, annoyed. But he checks himself before looking at me, and I think he knows that she's putting me on the spot. I can appreciate that he's trying to look out for me. I mean, I'd appreciate it more if he could not summon some kind of eldritch thing during an already busy Saturday shift. Or at all. I ease my throat and open it and squeak out, there's tomato bisque, Caesar salad, or lamb chili. Well, do you want salad like he is? We'll go with lamb chili. Maybe she is like a meat connoisseur. This doesn't mean much of anything to her. Great. And what would you like for your entree? She slams down on the table. My stomach lurches. First, bring me the matter are the physical forms of Reckwell's fuel like insane itself. I turn my heel and fly out of there an excuse to leave. If there are any kindly extramental beings looking down on me right now, I would like you to take the opportunity to thank them. I rush into the kitchen. Back to the kitchen, Everett is bustling about. Other servers were calling out their orders. Ambitious cooks are at work, and slightly less ambitious cooks are cracking jokes with each other. There is an oblivious as the customers out front. I can see the manager discussing some menu changes with the head chef. Hey, does anyone else see what's going on out there? But nobody turns to look at me. Hey, I'm serious. What the hell's going on? Are they ignoring me? Do you expect me to just go back out there and bring out this order like nothing's wrong? I take a sarcastic tone. Yeah, we got a blue cheese and chili for table 6. Just another usual night, right? Without warning, a tray with the order was put down on the counter next to me. But other than that, there was no hint of a glance. No guilty looks. Hey! Nobody even flinches. Fine. Looks like I'm on my own. And didn't I tell you how lovely your eyes are this evening? From your ever-infusing sewer pipe of compliments springs something worthwhile. I made the most of them myself, but the eye in the center of my head was my reference object. I couldn't even tell the difference. Your autonomy has gotten so much better since the last decade. It's easier when I have a fresh supply of study materials. So I suppose I can remain here long enough to consume matter. Let no sentiment be calm that I do not repay my debts. Well, that's just one of the parts of the job. Teachers can bring home knowledge. Cooks can bring home food. And surgeons can bring home spare body parts back to their girlfriends. I can say with relative certainty that that isn't how it works. Even if I ever found out this man's last name, I'm never going to this hospital. I serve Taliporia their chili, trying not to get close. Please be careful, it's hot. Remember, sweetie, too much heat can conjure. Silence, meat garden. I know what to do with violent heat sources. She then flings the scalding liquids across the table and hits Henderson square in the chest. Ah! He rushes into the bathroom, face red from pain. Do we serve our soups at the heat that could do permanent damage? But that still has to hurt. Does she close most of her eyes and inhales with a deep breath, satisfied? When she speaks again, her rough voice was a tranquil tone. Clean it up, human. That is an established with standards. Is it not? Well, it was, I mutter. The elegant charm might be a bit altered by the sudden presence of the giant tentacles. She snuggles down onto her seat. Oh, I hit the wrong button. This is a gift for your owners. This is a silver of my true form. Well, it's lovely. Sorry that you didn't like the chili. Apologies unnecessary, human. I enjoyed it immensely. She sniffs the air, and it smells nice as well. She dabs a little of the meat onto her neck. This body has concentrated blood flow around the throat and wrist. It pulses points of heat derived from stray molecular of matter, allowing humans to perceive them with their noses. She seems quite pleased with the luxury. She wraps the scarf around herself. And now that I think about it, the clothing Hendrik bought for her was all very heavy. A maxi skirt, a thick sweater, and a blanket scarf. The way you were clutching that scarf, are you cold? You may not have my scarf. It retains my heat, and it will continue to generate and retain heat. And it will belong to me, not you. I take a step back. No, that's all your heat. Fair enough. She growls, happily. Yes, all mine. Hendrik will be procuring more matters this evening, which will continue to power this form. A physical extension is a luxury. A caloric of energy necessary to move but a digit. She lifts one of her claws. It's precious to have gone thousands of years, lying in wait for a foolish summoner to tear open the rifts and let in the good heat from your world. Talibria leans down to the table and edge of the scarf trails into her chili. Or at least what was left of it. It's selfish to be happy that she is disarmed now. I look still present, tentacles recalculated in the statement. She at least cannot harm me with soup. And that's something. So human, how do you enjoy generating your own heat? It's good. I'd rather just turn on the heater, though. It's not great, really. Have you ever gotten sweaty? It's like physical activity. I like it. It's physical. Physical activity is fun. We'll turn on the heater. When it gets cold, I bring myself to do much of anything, so I just turn up the thermostat. She slams her hand down. No, this is unacceptable. Acceptable, lazy human. The void, there is no such heat. There is no suns off of which to leech off. Like some creature that lives off blood of another. I don't think she knows what the verb correlates to the actual animal. You need to be more grateful. And Hendrik returns. Getting along well. As well as you might expect. Still, thank you for keeping her company. We'll eat our appetizers and... She shakes her head. I'm finished with mine. He laughs. Of course, how could I forget? So then, would you like to move on to the main course now? The next part of the meal. Yes, the larger portions. Hendrik points her to the menu. So what would you like, what would you think about? I always like steak, but I can admit I think about splurging on the... Hey, human face. I snap to attention. Yes, ma'am? Choose. Do I promptly and wisely, or else I'll need to consume something else for the main course. She's staring at me right in the eyes. Her gaze lingers on my mouth. She stares at my teeth and licks her lips. Could she eat my teeth? Well, I think you should enjoy. Have a beautiful porterhouse steak. We have a lobster here. I remember squid ink pasta. I always love steak. Steak? She certainly recognizes the word. And I wouldn't normally recommend this, but there is a bone or a piece of cow skeleton in the steak. Maybe you might like to eat that? Apparently, yes. And I'll have the lobster, please. He looks a little embarrassed. It is a night for celebrating, you know. Hey, don't mind racking up the bill. He chuckles as I head off to the kitchen. Nobody's gonna recognize. The cooks are still gonna not recognize what I'm doing. Anything. The cooks prepare the dishes as usual and hand them off to me. Just like last time, never making eye contact or reacting to anything I say. Both of these meals require special cutlery. The lobster with a fork and a cracker for Hendrik, and a steak knife for Talporia. I serrated Endred's gleam with the murky light. It's a really good idea to hand a weapon over to her. I'm on my own. I'm on my own here, and nobody will help me if she attacks me. Or maybe since nobody else will help me, I'll have to deal with the situation myself. She hasn't made a move to harm me yet, but she did do a number on the dining room. It may only be a matter of time. As I look over to table 6, it's time to make a choice. What should I do with the knife? I'm going to try. Oh, why kill his date? Get rid of it. I'm going to give it to her as though she were any other customer. Why would I treat her any other way differently? Fighting them seems pretty a bad call. And there's no sense in making things awkward, right? The night's been surprisingly well. Yeah, I'm going to count not dead yet, but surprisingly well. I serve the dishes as usual, placing the lobster cracker in fork by Hendrik, and the steak knife next to Talaporia. She glances at it, but not for a second. The only thing she's intent on attacking is her dinner. Bloody juices flies from the steak, dripping everywhere, pooling on her lap, sparkling onto her seat, filling the tablecloth, specking the crayon lines, which start to buzz slowly. Should I call it to her attention? Yeah, excuse me, the summoning circle? They look at me. I point to the table, where the wood was already beginning to shimmer and warp. Oh, sweetie, you're opening the rift back up. He scrunches to the floor the moment before setting back up with the crayon. We watch as he crosses out a line where the smudge lines there, till the tablecloth looks, if not normal, or at least inconcluded. I know this is a good time to retreat back into the kitchen, but I can't help but ask. So did you just close the circle back up? It looked like the lines were already smudged before this. How precise do they have to be? He chuckles and picks up the lobster claws. This wasn't a circle for summoning or making connections between realms. He places the claw inside the cracker. This is a circle that eroded the barrier that has already been a weakened location. Usually this place's owner keeps the doorway nice and clear. Oh well, mistakes happen, right? Just let her know to have a look at it, okay? Absolutely. She and R are going to have a long talk. It was no trouble. He starts to squeeze the cracker, and if you know anything works, it's easy to destroy it. The shell snaps open, and he starts to dig the meat out. Tapir peers at his hands, watching closely as he demantles the creature. Would you like some? Pah! And waste time preparing my own meal? My beefsteak is so delicious, peon. Suit yourself, but you're missing out. On what? Steak is filled with calories for fuel and proteins, which are building blocks for DNA. Name one thing that makes your meal a superior dish. I start to take a step back. Their eating so I can leave them in peace. Time to get out of here before human ace. Great. Yes, ma'am. Remain here and bear witness and behold to what would be mates creation defeat. Yes, ma'am. There's a few things I wanted less to stay in the same area as these two, especially when they're going to fight. Sweetie, you know I would never want to argue with you. I respect your opinions at all times, even when they're wrong. Oh no. I am a deity. You cannot comprehend the depths of my knowledge. If I should make a statement, then it's surely so. Oh yes, she's deeply infallible that her first time to public in the 1800s? She ran screaming from an accordion player, having literally never seen in a untold millennia of existence anything like it. I guess she was lucky that they weren't bagpipes, huh? Oh, she didn't like that. She lunges across the table, steak knife flying. Before he could even move, she stabs 3 times, knife driving down the hilt of each thrust. Hendrik coughs blood, dibbling his chest. He didn't move a finger to defend himself. One of those stabs must have gotten an organ. And it's not like he can't feel it, his face screwed up from the intensity of the attack. I suppose that was uncalled for, wasn't it, sweetie? I'm sorry, I missed what you said, because it sounded like you were spinning lies to the human. Never, darling. At a complete loss, I pulled an extra napkin from my apron and handed it over to Hendrik. So, human, I won the argument. I guess I say yes. Pretty definitely. Ha! Now knifeless, she picks up her steak and rips chunks with her teeth. Let that be a lesson to you all. I won't be forgetting that for any time soon. So before I go, is there anything is everything to your liking? Is the food powering your true form enough? Silly Ace. When in my true form, I do not consume human fuel. This human template is my, what do you call it? Hendrik caught a mid-bite and covers his mouth through her spawn. Human Sona. Yes, my human Sona. It consumes calories, inhales oxygen, excretes feces, and all the same as yourself, I assume. I never expected to have a restaurant patron ask if I breathe and poop. But here we are. But my true form requires something much more deeply sustaining. She stares me down. She looks at my teeth again. She looks me in the eye. She holds eye contact and waits. I try not to squirm about my moxie as inadequate for the situation. She waits. And then she laughs. I can breathe again. Delicious. A light dusting of fear Nothing too overwhelming. If that doesn't strike her as much fear, please let me never learn what does. So you eat fear then? It falls under my purview. Suffering. Sweetie, true form eats concepts. And she builds her human sona to have quite a taste for them, too. Any form of important emotion sustains her. But she is quite picky. I am not. Suffering is the only thing worth eating. Eating anything else would be beneath me. It's okay, whatever you eat. I love you just the way you are. And I would like you much better if you were several more stab wounds to your head. Anytime, sweetie. Though I managed to sneak away for the next 15 minutes, I know that I eventually have to return. I try to strike up a conversation with the line cooks. So, how do you guys feel about the recent tentacle invasions? Of course, nobody responds. Yeah, I've heard. Really put it into words, huh? Nobody is responding. Dishes click. I guess its spooky atmosphere is certainly a charm, but I don't think it'll catch up with the baby boomers. Conventional wisdom says that their elegance is rustic charm. Midwestern moms are not into dripping fluids. I mean, as a general group, I don't want to assume individual taste. This gets boring quickly, so after the appropriate waiting period, I head back over. I believe this is like we're in a distorted bubble, so where both Hendrik, Tilapia, and me are a part of, and anything that we ask to be served as well are in this bubble. So, thank you for dining with us tonight. I did it. I made it through this evening. I'm tempted to not even give them the check and to just right back out the door. But I refuse to slip up now. It's been a delight getting to know you both. How kind of you. You know, I was planning on heading out, but you know what? I could care less if I attempted, and I'm very powerful. I am very capable of caring for far less than most humans could in most apathetic dreams. Let's do dessert. Oh, okay. I look I look from his smiling face into Lapia's cruel one. I know how this goes. Let me make a recommendation. I recommend the chocolate. Do you feel like drinking? No. Ooh, I mean, chocolate is delicious, so we'll go with chocolate. I must remain professional. Everyone loves chocolate to go with the safe option. Don't screw around when you're so close to the end of this. So close. Bring it on, Mr. Ace. The turrets here do better after a few hours setting up the cooler, so they aren't made to order. I grab a couple of spoons in return. Talaporia doesn't seem a fan, but at least she doesn't make a scene. Hendrik asks for the check, and I rush off quickly and ready for record time. He takes the check. He seems to do a bit of a calculation in his head, then lays down some cash. Well, this evening wasn't complete waste of time and effort. Oregon ravioli. Hendrik looks up at her. You may have one sort friendly embrace. He jumps to his feet, arms rolled to hug her. And then one of her tentacles slams into him, throwing his body across the room. He slams into the wall like a rag doll onto the ground. Hug transactions complete. So he went to go hug her and she just smacked him across the room, I believe. Oh no. Did you just kill him? She heaves a sigh. Would I were so lucky. No, humans have merely rendered I merely rendered him unconscious. That's good. Via severe cranial hemorrhaging. That's bad. He will sleep it off. I've ripped off his limbs before. He can take it. She looks almost fond. She gets up and walks over to him and grabs him by the foot. I suppose it's time to return him to his residence. She perks up. Or I can abandon his body in a trash unit. Perhaps nobody will find him, and he will be replaced inside a trash compactor. As she turns to drag him away, I ask, Miss Talaporia. She turns quizzical. Human, I am departing. You've made it through this evening unscratched. You have little to no ability to comprehend how fortunate that makes you. But I suggest you make an attempt. I clear my throat. I think I'm trapped. I gesture around the restaurant. Ah, yes. I forgot. Your word usually has even more light, does it not? She shrugs. Well, I had no hand in this. And with that, she waves aside a tentacle and marches through the front door. Hendrik's head thuds against the ground as she down the staircase and out of sight. When I hear the door close, another server bumps into me, stepping past. They give me a dirty look and keep heading their way. Just like that, I'm back. I get moving, clearing the table, scooping up the check. I check the tip. 40%. I might not cover emotional distress, but it'll cap off the shift well. This was quite the experience. But for my own safety, I think I'm going to skip 2 weeks' notice. I came here to learn something new, and I say that goal was more than accomplished. Okay, actually that was very, very good. I did like that. Is this it? Ending for a hug goodbye. So there's 4+ maybe? Okay, well that was May I Take Your Order. Actually, it was really a good story there. Do like that. But I'm going to end it here, so please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time in the next video. Bye-bye.